Woohoo! Shout out to us. Today we have our first time guest because it is April, which is the Financial Awareness Month. We have Thumbprint Realty and a partner along with them. Her lovely name. We're going to start off with her, with Whitney. Mm-hmm. And she is... Where's your mic? There we go. You want to introduce yourself, Whitney? Tell us the organization you work with and what you do.
My name is Whitney of Kings and Queens Consulting. I do all things financial, taxes for entrepreneurs and individuals, estates and trusts, nonprofits. We do credit repair. We help business owners get credit for their business, funding for their business, so pretty much all things financial.
So I'm going to need your phone number by the time we are done because I fit that description. Okay, and then in the middle we have lovely Joanna. Miss Joanna, go ahead.
Yes, Joanna Edwards, co-founder of Thumbprint Realty, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and I co-sign everything that Whitney just said because she keeps our life running and she's amazing at what she does. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
All right, and last but not least, we have Miss Nicky. Go ahead, Miss Nicky.
No, I'm kidding. My name is Nicky Allen. I am a commercial advisor and agent at Thumbprint Realty. We are the go-to for a fact in commercial real estate, especially in the city of Boston, but in Massachusetts and a few other states. We help bring, especially people that want to own or entrepreneurs that want to come into a live space. We bring that to life, and we want to go beyond just the transaction and make sure that have everything right and that you're thriving and not just surviving. And so this is why our network is so strong, as you can already see.
Amen. Thriving and not just surviving. I'm still in that line too. There's a lot of lines tonight that I am going to be stealing. Y'all got me at the edge of my seat ready to just dive into this conversation.
And I forgot to mention, I am also a real estate agent focusing on residential. My niche is working with first-time home buyers and making sure that they save money. And if you did not go with Thumbprint to purchase your home, you paid too much.
Ooh, she said you paid too much. I heard that. Say that one more time. If what?
If you did not choose Thumbprint to purchase or sell your home, you paid too much.
You paid too much. And in this economy right now, listen. All right, let's just dive right in and get into talking about the monies and the tips that we can do and give to people so that they can save if they're on this journey. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm going to need all the stuff that you guys have going on here. And that's how we came across to bring you guys on. As an entrepreneur, I am kind of looking for a space to expand my current business that I have. And Neddie Boo, she sent me a post that Miss Nicky had up, and it's right on River Street. And so I sent her a message, and that's how Nicky and I connected. And then she sent me another post, and it was Joanna's post, and she was like, she's the owner, we should get her in here. And I'm like, okay, we can do that too. I'm like, they're for the same company. I'm pretty sure they know one another. I'm pretty sure they know one another. And then when we've had a chance to have a phone conversation, that's when they said, we can bring Whitney in. And I was like, the more the merrier. The more information that we can give to the people to not only highlight the information, but to bring customers to you guys, because I'm loving it, because Thumbprint has been out. You guys are right in Codman Square, right? Yes. Right in Codman Square, across the street from Kentucky Fried Chicken on Washington Street. So you guys have been out here, and you guys are pretty well, I know of you. And we're going to get the people out there to know of you, because we don't want them spending too much money. We're trying to save. All right. So
you're the co-founder.
Right. My husband's the principal broker, and I am him, he is me, so therefore I am the co-founder of Thumbprint Realty as well.
Hey, I love that.
Tell us a little bit about Thumbprint Realty. Tell us about what you got going on.
Yeah, so Thumbprint Realty was founded in 2016. We are Black owned. We have about 54 real estate agents within our brokerage. And again, like I said, my husband's a principal broker. He's been in the real estate business for about 20 years or so, myself going on about 10 years. And yeah, we're located in the community, and we know your home because we know your neighborhood. And so we're deep rooted and grass rooted in our community in Common Square. And, we're probably one of the only local brokerages that has a philanthropic arm. We have a nonprofit as well called Thumbprint Cares. Yeah, I said if you did not choose Thumbprint, you paid too much. It's because our focus is being able to help folks afford to live in Boston, to find out down payment assistance programs that's available in Boston. There's so much money being left on the table. And so our job is to make sure that we gather all of the resources to make sure that our buyers are well equipped to buy homes in Boston, the very city that they say you can't afford, the very
Right.
city that they're trying to push you out of.
Right.
And so our job is to be able to do that. And I'm fortunate and happy to say that last year we were able to help clients obtain over $700,000 in down payment assistance from multiple sources and grants to be able to stay and purchase in Boston. So if you hear Thumbprint, just know that that's what we are, that's who we are, and we know your home because we know your neighborhood.
I love that.
Okay.
So I guess that's going to bring us to the first topic of creating generational wealth. That was almost a tongue twister just now. Creating generational wealth and keeping it. Who wants to start off with that?
I can start. I think the first thing we need to think about when it comes down to creating generational wealth is how to leverage the programs in the city of Boston. And now to leverage the programs in the city of Boston. So there are multiple programs that have down payment assistance that only allow you to put down only 3.5%. Now, if you're leveraging those programs, you're paying, I always tell folks, your first home should be your most expensive home because you're only putting down 3.5%. If you're buying a multifamily, that multifamily is an asset. It's not a liability because it's going to give you more income. What do you do with that income? That income is going to allow you to purchase more homes. When you're able to purchase more homes, you're able to create passive income. That passive income is going to be another source of income. They say the average millionaire has 7 sources of income, right? So if you are purchasing a multifamily property, you are now allowing yourself to create another income source. That income source is going to allow you to buy another property that's going to serve as another income source. That's how the wealth starts to build. And so whenever real estate is the number one field, the fastest field where your money will triple and quadruple in the shortest amount of time.
Wow.
If you're thinking about building wealth, real estate is the first path to go. And that's how you build generational wealth.
And Whitney, I heard that you can give us. Sorry, I be getting yelled at, y'all. Whitney, I heard that you could give us some more information on how we can protect it, right?
So
She needs a
need
mic.
a trust. You would need a trust to protect your home ultimately, depending on the ways you're buying homes. So if you're an entrepreneur trying to buy a home outside of traditional financing, like your typical known banks, then you would at that point need an LLC to protect that home. So it's not attached to you.
Gotcha.
And jumping in on that from the commercial side of it, of course, I think the biggest thing, right, is how do we shift ourselves into ownership, right, and not to get in over your head. And the same how you can protect your residential assets, you still want to make sure you translate that into commercial as well, right? So I think it's important, especially like we talked about in our communities, is tapping into the programs, tapping into the type of financing. We talked about it earlier, anything greater than 5, right? Even if it is all residential, you still want to be able to tap into those programs and always think ownership, right? And especially from a commercial standpoint.
Sorry, Whitney, not to cut you off. We just have to assume that people watching don't know what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So what we were talking about earlier is when you speak into the mic. Sorry.
Okay, sure. I know, right?
But
That's all right.
So what they were explaining to me earlier is any
difference.
property over 4 units is considered commercial. I didn't know that. And
Yes.
I
just
didn't know
to
that either.
Piggyback off of what you were saying. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
But that's what she's referencing. So news to me, news to
Yeah, I
Panda,
didn't know that
anything
either.
over 4 units is considered commercial.
Exactly, yes. So going back again to what we're talking about, that generational wealth, that can be a part of your portfolio as well. There's mixed use buildings, there's all types of properties and buildings. And even when we think about our city, there's a lot of vacancies. We should be concerned, we should be caring about what can we do, where can our people come together and do to acquire this property, to acquire the land that's available, that's here. We need to be able to inquire about that. And like we said, roll that into generational wealth in whatever strategy makes sense for you and your family.
So I have a quick question. Do they have as many programs for entrepreneurs to get commercial property as they do for homeowners? Like, instead of having to rent out a commercial space because there's so much rules, like, well, that's the next topic, the rights for the landlord and the tenant for commercial property. But do they have any programs like that to support entrepreneurs?
So I think it looks different, right, for each of them. So I think mostly with entrepreneurship, it's gaining capital some way, right? So you can either do it through grant programs. That's usually what municipals would join in and do. Or sometimes what they do, like especially the city of Boston, Mayor Wu especially has been doing a phenomenal job from, helping entrepreneurs to, work on zoning, work on permitting, make it a lot easier because it was very convoluted before and it was very hard to understand and inconsistent. So they've really taken a great interest in breaking down these programs, breaking down the zoning criteria to make it much easier, not only for the entrepreneurs, but also to feed the city, right? We talk about affordability. We know that it is expensive, but there are ways around it. And so even though it may not be like a down payment assistance program, like what the residential, it might be a grant. It might be a partnership to say, okay, we can, finance this portion of it, partner with you to get your goals over the line, get people, get entrepreneurs, get businesses into the city so that they don't have to go miles down the road, cities down the road to try to afford real estate. And so that's what it would look like for an entrepreneur. But again, it's really breaking down your plan. We could talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
It could also look like leveraging your business and actually treating it like you would treat your personal self. So the same way you build credit for yourself, you should be building it for your business, because now you can tap into lines of credit and funding like that. Yep. The SBA also offers programs for you to buy real estate. But again, depending on what you're trying to buy, you always need a strategy. That's right. And some programs have rules that they go by. So you just want to tap into a strategy that makes sense. Maybe you'll do this program before that one type of thing.
This is all good information. I hope these people are
to
tuning
learn about
in.
all these programs. First of all, you're a financial strategist. Do you help create those strategies? Like if an entrepreneur came and was like, I want to do this, you're like, oh, well, you need a strategy. The entrepreneur was like, I want to do this. Would you
Do I do it for you?
Would offer assistance or like point me in the direction? Like I don't know. If you were to tell me to create a financial strategy, I would go to Google. No,
Google's not Whitney.
Hey, that's the point. But that's my question. That's my question. Do you help with those, or does someone have to come to you with a financial strategy and then you point them to the program?
Most people can't come to me because you don't know, and most people don't read, and I'm the one who's going to read, and I'm going to go find it. So what happens when you come to us, I don't make, but that's a strong word. Everyone has to do a consultation with me. And that consultation is, most people think like, oh, she just wants to be in my business. No, I need to know what you're doing. I don't want to know what you're doing tomorrow. I want to know what you want to do in a year, 5 years, 10 years. And then I go and I look up, let me see what your business has been doing from a search standpoint. Because as you know, as an entrepreneur, you're public. So I go and see how would a bank look at you is how I'm looking at you. And on that consultation, I'll tell you, well, these are the things you need so you can be fundable. You need to stop treating your business this way, and this is what I recommend you do. On that call, I tell you exactly where to go, exactly what to do. Now, most people are lazy. And it'll stop at that consultation, and then it'll be, oh, I don't know what to do. You knew what to do, you just didn't want to go to the next step. So we then, if you are that person who is lazy, and it's okay if you're lazy, we offer you, we could do it together. And on that point, it's like, okay, I need you to stop what you're doing. It could be like a random phone call. Stop what you're doing, and I need you to fill this out. This is what I need you to put on the application based off of what I know about you. And then if you're like, I don't want to do that either, because I do get clients like that, that goes to the next top tier where I'm doing everything for you and I'm making sure it's done.
Yeah, because I think what I hear as well, and then we treat our alternate business, we are your partners, right? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times, sorry, I'm soft spoken. I'm so sorry, y'all. Forgive me.
All of that.
No, but it's partnership, right? Like I look at myself as like, okay, how are we gonna partner? What's that gonna look like, right? And back to Whitney's point, you can pay the premium price that it costs for someone to do it. Or if you're not in that position, understand that let's partner together. We are willing to help you, but you gotta listen, you gotta understand the roadmap, and you gotta be willing to follow that because we are the experts, right? Like AI can't do that. You still need this essence of this professional to come in and say, hey, listen, let's put the sprinkle on that to actually make that a reality.
I just had a realization. You just helped me have a realization. You know how people be like, I got a lawyer? I got a financial strategist.
You got a financial strategist.
I'm sitting here like, I'm sitting here like, I just saw the light bulb go off in Eddie's head. I wonder what that bulb was.
Because you hear financial strategist, and I'm like, you do finance, right? But nah, you a finance.
Like,
So-
she would literally hold you by the hand and take you through the whole thing. You just got to pay for it.
So you've heard, you've heard of Ilyana Fix Your Life, right? You've heard of Ilyana Fix Your Life? Well,
Yes.
Whitney will fix your life, okay? Whitney will fix your life. And I'm speaking from a testimonial standpoint because before we met Whitney, my husband and I were paying hundreds of thousands in taxes. And I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying hundreds. We're business owners, we're entrepreneurs. And our tax advisor did not give us the strategies that we needed to leverage all of the money our businesses were making. We were paying way too much. We were over leveraged. And we were like, how can you make so much money, but you don't see the money that you're making? Whitney was able to come in
That
and
was my question to
she just
myself.
came in and was like, this is where he went wrong. And since then, we have been on an upwards trajectory where we've been able to see where our finances are going. We've been able to leverage our businesses. We've been able to reallocate funds to build wealth and for us to be able to keep our wealth. And I think that's what, and I don't want to undermine at all, because I think we're not really just like really honing in on the value that Whitney brings when it's thinking about financing and leveraging folks. All the billionaires and millionaires you see out there, they're leveraging these tax codes that we don't know about.
They got financial strategists.
Yes.
Financial strategists.
Listen.
They have financial strategists. They have financial strategists.
I'm doing the calculations in my head now, like, where can I fit her into my budget?
I have clients who call me when they're depositing money in the bank. It's like it's like, just put the money in your account. They're like, no, I got to call Whitney. If I have clients buying cars at the dealership, they have the AirPod. I'm on the phone like, no, you're singing this to them.
Yes.
And the dealers be like, how do you know this? Like, what?
Because I got a financial
Yeah.
strategist.
Like
She's giving me chills over here because this is what I need. Whew. All right.
I got what I needed. Y'all ready to go?
Let's see. Oh,
got a
Javi has a question.
So, kind of a testimonial, not with you guys specifically, but me and my wife had a financial advisor for a bit. After we both increased our tax bracket, whatever, right? Because we did that, we still owed a bunch of money, credit cards, loans, all that. And just having conversations with the financial advisor put us on a track where we were basically debt free. Really good credit score within a year, right? And it happened very quickly with us, partially, mainly because of our financial advisor, but we had the funds, like, we need to pay down your debt. We were able to pay that down in a couple of months because we had the funds to do that. So I say that, appreciating what you do, but also thinking that, like, you're talking right now to, like, a broad but very specific group of people. And you said something earlier about people being lazy. I think that's the case for a lot of people. But I also feel like that's simplifying what a lot of people go through. We wouldn't be able to have an advisor without getting paid, having decent jobs, which is a lot of people that don't have that.
no. Let me stop you there. You don't have to have money to have a financial advisor, though.
So, people, it's not zero in the ledger. It's negative in the ledger.
I can help you from negative.
So, say if someone's making $15 an hour,
can help you.
$35, like, I don't know how much you charge, but I think, okay, so you think you can help them, but I think one of the barriers is that people think that people like you that do a good service is out of their price range. I would say I made more than I paid my advisor because she was good, but like, how do you get over that fear? How do you educate people that think they can't afford it?
So that was my second point. After being lazy, you have a group of people who are scared. Most of the stuff I know is because I'm not scared. If it's like, oh, I need funding for this, well, let me call this bank. And I know, let me speak to your underwriting department. I don't want to speak to the customer service. You're not the one approving the applications. Connect me to your underwriting department. What credit scores do you pull? What are you looking for if I apply? What's your data points is what they call them for me to even to do business with you. You can ask these things. You can pick up a phone. You can also, and I'm not speaking for all financial strategists or financial people. Yes, we do charge because we are a business and we have to make a living. But You can also say, hey, I can't afford this. Like, I can tell when somebody's bluffing me and when somebody's serious, because I'm the person that's going to be on your Facebook. I will stalk you. If I see you out here splurging and taking vacations, you're not serious because you could afford me. You just choose to spend your money wrong. But if I see you're a mom and you're, or even a single father and you're actually trying, and I can see that, I don't mind giving you the information for free. You're not going to take any business from me. There's no reason for me to not give you the information, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to come back to me because I know you're probably not going to want to pick up the phone and ask. So when I tell people like, hey, call the dealership, say that, I give people the scripts. They be like, no, I'm not doing that. They're going to tell me no. And I'm like, how you know they're going to tell you no? Even if they tell you no, we could just go to the next bank. We can go to the next dealer. Most of my work, when I get cars for people, I'm not on the phone. I send an email. This is what I want. This is what I'm demanding for my client. We're not coming in there until you guarantee this is what we're locked in at. We're not giving you no money down because I know that's not even possible. It's illegal. And if you're going to argue with me, here's the facts for you. Send this to a sales manager in your division. I don't want a sales rep. These are the people I don't want. I lay it very clear, the rules that we're going to play by. And this, let me know if you are capable of handling this case. If not, I'm going to the next dealership. They be like, here you go. And once they send me back the terms for the deal, okay, now I want the callback sheet, because the average person don't know to ask for a callback sheet. And that's why y'all are putting $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on cars, thinking that your loan has gotten that car, and the bank that you're paying every month for that car never received that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. You wonder why you're stuck in a car note. But if you call that bank and ask them, hey, why is my balance so high when I gave y'all $15,000? They're gonna tell you, we ain't never get $15,000. You paid the dealer a middleman fee. So if you was gonna pay them the middleman fee, just pay it for me and I'll go get your car.
And that was free.
Listen.
That was free, okay?
And because most people will argue, they'll be like, oh, you need good credit. No, I get people these same cars with low credit scores.
Yeah.
You cannot argue with a law. And that's just plain and simple. But you have to be the person. You have to be a student. And when you read, the problem with us, they say it. If you want to hide information from your community, put it in a book. Nobody's reading. And then the people that do read, nobody take the steps to, hey, Whitney, what does it look like to work with you? That's a free question. Either I'm gonna say, hey, it costs this much, or what do you need? Okay, I could just give this to you. Go run that. And then if I give it to you, just go tag me on Facebook, tag me on Instagram, and say you got it from me. That's it.
Let me go follow you real quick. Whitney, all the way off topic. What's your sign?
Scorpio.
No, I'm a Cancer. She's a fellow water sign. Sorry.
Nikki, what's your sign? Oh, but you're bossy. Yeah. In a good way.
All right, sorry.
I'm a Taurus.
And Nikki, what are you?
Bossy, for sure.
She's a Capricorn.
Oh, Big Cap would have loved you.
Yeah.
December or January?
December.
Gotcha. I know a lot more December Caps than January. But anyway, that was way off topic. Let's bring it back to helping our people save some monies. All right, so go ahead.
You don't need to be an entrepreneur to do none of the stuff we're talking about. That's
that part.
People think like, oh, I gotta be. When I was working my W-2 job at the hospital, I was still getting $18,000 refunds because I understood the tax code. And that's where people go wrong. You don't have to have a business to be wealthy. You can still work your job.
Speaking of what you understand and what you do, we talked to Joanna about what she does. Tell us, give us some more. We are a financial strategist, but you also do taxes. Like, what does all of that mean?
So I do taxes. I do tax planning, which is important in order to file taxes. Most people only know one tax season, which just passed, January to April. I do taxes all year. So if you are trying to build wealth or trying to buy homes, you need to be doing it all year. Most tax offices, H&R Block, TurboTax, pick up the phone now. They're not going to be there to help you.
That's sure not.
You got to do amendments. We work all year, every day of the week, almost whatever you need. We take you, whether you have a job, whether you're starting your business, whether you actually have a business, and I strip you to your bones. I need to know everything. If you hide it from the police, don't hide it from me. Tell me. The only thing I don't need to know is if you are doing murder charges cases, because I'm not going with you. But anything else, I can know if you selling drugs, because the IRS will still tell you to file a tax return if you sell drugs. Tell me so I can tell you how to best prepare that tax return. Now you may go to jail later,
Who you want to run from?
She's like,
and I give this disclosure, you may go to jail, but you can fact check me. The IRS.gov is free. Go search it. Drugs. I sell drugs. They'll tell you. Schedule C, put it on this line. So my job.
Said, who are you running? Who do you want to run from? The IRS or the police?
And for the people that's like, oh, that's not true. Think about it. When people go to jail, you ever wonder where your money goes to? You're paying taxes. That restitution and those court fees y'all are paying for these big crimes, and you get out and now you're like, I gotta pay the court. You're not paying the court, you're paying the IRS. Look at all your well-known criminals, how they have these, how are they selling all these drugs and have a tax bill? Because most drug dealers don't pay taxes, allegedly, but they do.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Is that why they
Everything
try
is
to wash it
taxed
through
in
like laundromats and stuff like that? Like, let me get a business and put this money through here so I could pay some taxes on it.
All right, never mind. No comment.
Never mind. I just seen it in a movie. I just seen it in a movie.
Oh my goodness.
So movies are fake. Right. I will tell you that movies are fake, but if you're making money in this U.S., you have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Right.
Most of your income, 90% is taxable. Unless it's a loan, it's not taxable. Most of your income is taxable.
That was listen, the way I'm gonna watch this episode. All right. So when we were talking earlier off air, we talked about mortgage before marriage. Can we dive into that? That wasn't one of the topics, but it's about to be.
Yes.
Oh, well, it's all related. Mortgage before marriage, finances before fiance, Rockefeller before Beyonce, and we stand by that. We live by that. I'm a walking testimony of that. Earlier, we talked about building generational wealth, and I mentioned how my husband and I both purchased and owned property before we got married. How do we do that? We weren't rich. We weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouths. My husband was raised by a single mother. His father wasn't in his life. He got his first property at the age of 20, a multi-family property. I purchased my 3-family home at the age of 27 years old. We both came into this marriage with 2 investment properties. Our tenants paid for our wedding and they were not invited. Let me say that again. Our tenants paid for our wedding and they were not invited. That is passive income at its finest. When you're thinking about building generational wealth, you're thinking about making money without working hard for it. You want your money to work for you. We also talked about how the average millionaire or the average billionaire has 7 sources of income. In order to build generational wealth, you can't rely on that W-2, right? You can't just have all your eggs in one basket. So my husband and I, we decided to build wealth by owning real estate. The passive income from those real estate properties allowed us to purchase more real estate and allowing us to own 12 homes that we have today. Those 12 homes are going to pay for our children's college if they choose to pay to go to college, because we're not paying for it. Those homes are now in a trust. Our children will now have the ability, and they have the ability now to own homes. Now, when you're combining incomes, you're now disqualifying yourself for a lot of these down payment assistance programs because you're over leveraging, right? If you're single, and the funny thing is, I bought my home when I was engaged. We didn't get married yet, so technically I'm single. That's what it said on my tax returns, right? So I was able to leverage the lowest down payment. Right, I use NACA, which is a independent nonprofit organization that allows you to put down zero for down payment, zero closing, and I used the money that I had saved to buy down my interest rate to 2.4% on a 3-family that was $550,000 just 10 years ago. That same home is worth $1.2 million today. Right, I bought that 3-family home. I lived at home with my mama, right, and I was able to leverage the rents from that home, put together with the rents my husband was getting on his home. That paid for our life today. So at the end of the day, when we're saying mortgage before marriage, we're saying don't look for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right yet. Figure out your finances. Figure out how to leverage these down payment assistance programs, these first-time home buyers programs. Get your home, have them get their home, come into a union with passive income to build generational wealth.
I have questions.
I like that. I like that. You go ahead with your questions. I just wanted to say I like all of that.
So you mentioned your children are able to leverage purchasing a home. At what age are we able to put property in our kids' name, or if that's even a thing?
So my son was at the closing. He was 2 years old at the time. His name is on the property. He will be able to have access to those funds if we allow at the age of 18. My daughter as well. Their names are on the property, and whenever we decide, essentially. But if anything happens to us, that's most important, right? I needed to be in the will. I needed to be in an estate plan. I needed to be documented that if anything happens to either myself or my husband, that property, they're the beneficiaries of those properties. And so that's the most important thing, not necessarily what age, but if anything happens to us, they need to know, and the state needs to recognize them as the beneficiaries.
Gotcha. Okay.
Javi, any questions?
What if you're already married?
You can always leverage, and I just want to say that too. Like, the mortgage before marriage is one aspect. We also preach to married couples too. There are ways to purchase multiple homes even if you are married. And my girl Whitney here is going to tell you exactly how to do that. She's going to tell you how to file, what you need to claim, what you don't need to claim, and how to put each of you in a position to be able to leverage these down payment assistance programs. Because a lot of these down payment assistance programs don't require you to be a first-time home owner. So you can put down 3.5%, or you can put down 5% on your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth property without ever having to put down 20%. That's first.
Don't you become a first-time home buyer again after a year with FHA?
With FHA, and FHA is not.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 years.
FHA is not. First of all, FHA is not a first-time home buyers program. FHA, you could use FHA. You can, after a year, you could refinance from FHA and use it again to move into your next property. You don't need to be a first-time home buyer. And again, there are other programs that if you already own a property, you can buy another property, only putting down 5% or 3.5%. If you own a home together, however, and again, that's why it's really important to determine how you're purchasing that first home and what the strategy is going to be for either one of you to purchase the next home. What do you need to claim on your taxes? How much do you need to make, right? How much can you leverage to be able to show, okay, I'm not a first-time home buyer, but I'm not putting down 20%. I'm only going to put down 3.5%. Yes, I'm married, and some married couples don't even file joint, right? Some married couples file independently.
Not everybody.
All of those things can factor into how many homes you can buy and how you can leverage being able to purchase multiple homes.
Not rubbed hands like Barbie.
I usually don't speak this much. So me and my wife are in a somewhat different situation. So we weren't born rich or whatever, but our families came here in the 70s and purchased homes and they never sold, and today they've appreciated quite a bit, right? Right now I'm having a conversation with my mother, who's getting ready for retirement, and we're trying to convince her that she can't depend on the state to do her end of life planning. She says, like, probably many people in a similar situation, their parents would say, well, I'm an only child, for instance, right? So there's no fighting, everything comes to me and then to my daughter. But there's still gonna be some type of push against that if we don't have any planning. How do we talk to the older generation? Because again, I'm old, married, I got a business, did all types of stuff. My mom, college degree, my mom's not listening to me, right? How do we talk to them about these types of sensitive topics?
So financial education goes as far as the individual who's willing to learn. And most of us get it confused. When people ask me like, oh, you're building all this wealth. I'm not building wealth for me. It's selfish to say that I'm gonna build the wealth for me when I'm going to die. My good years are gone, right? The wealth is for my children. So I know you're like, it goes to me. It doesn't go to you. You're probably my age and maybe a little older. It goes to your daughter. So the best way to explain to your mom is, I tell my clients all the time, I'm not your girlfriend, I'm not your wife, I'm not your husband, or whatever your situationship. I get nothing from lying to you. Here's the facts. And the plain truth is, either you are gonna set it up for what you want, and if you want it to come to me, your grandchild, this is what has to be done. If not, here are facts. The court will take it from us all. And it's as you did all of this work, all this hard work, you missed out all these holidays, all these precious moments. Actually, I would start and say, hey, what do you regret in life? And make her tell you all her pain points, and then say, Mom, I love you, but the same regrets can be the same reason we lose this if you don't do this.
Amen.
Don't say Whitney said you.
And that was free. And that was free.
That was free. It's free 99.
That's right.
Play the video.
That's right.
Change your voice so she don't think it was.
And you bring up a valuable point, because and I often talk about like growing up in a Haitian culture and a Haitian community, like they don't believe in life insurance. When my father passed away, he had his bank account. He said, this is for my funeral, this is for my suit, and that it stops there, right? There was no financial planning. This is not, hey, this is gonna go to you. This is what to do with this. This is how you're able to pass this on to the next generation. I think we all have this like selfish mindset that when we're gone, we're gone. We don't care what happens to the people we leave behind. And they say, oh, well, the money ain't coming with me. So, and I think we need to change our mindset. And I think our mindset is what's going to determine whether we build generational wealth, because we have a selfish mindset that we don't think beyond today. We don't think that it matters. And I always say, like, if that's your mindset, think about if your great grandmother thought like you did, or if they changed their mindset, it would have changed the whole trajectory of your grandmother's life, your mother's life, or your life. There would not be any struggle. There would be more financial planning. You would be in a better situation. So think about how your life is and how it could have been if the proper financial planning took place. And I think we just need to change our trajectory as far as how we think and change our mindset. And everything starts with mindset. Once you shift your mindset, you shift your life. And I think that's the kind of mindset that we need to go into and think about when we're talking about generational wealth, to change the narrative. No more selfish thinking. No more just thinking about today. No more just thinking about after we're gone. That's it. Think about the future, because that's how we change generations.
Not only that, everybody be like, oh, I love my child. I'll die for my child. Go get some money for your child.
Yeah.
Go build some wealth for your child.
Yeah, that part, exactly.
It's easy to die. I can give you 1,000,001 ways to die.
That's
Go
right.
get the money for your child.
That's right.
Spend your time that you barely have and make sure your child, when I started building wealth, my family, they don't have these conversations.
Yep.
So I made it very clear when I sat down with my lawyer, I want it so that my children don't have to depend on not a government, not an auntie, not an uncle, nobody. And if I die before they make it to 18, this is what I want done. If they do go live with this person, it has to be my sister if she's still alive. It has to be my sister, because I understand that my sister will follow my rules even with me gone. I understand that this money that I've saved and built will pay for my kids to still be alive. People don't, it's easy to ask, what should I do? This is my thought process. I want my kids to be wealthy. When I'm gone, I don't want them to struggle. How can I get there? You can ask anybody that and just see who they point you to and interview. The same way you get to know your boyfriend, your girlfriend, go start interviewing tax people, banks. Everybody should have an interview if they're gonna be in your life. Because if they're not valuable to you, why are they still there?
I got a question. I got a couple questions. So the first one is with being a financial strategist, right? Would you partner with your client to build a will?
So I give you like a cheat sheet. Everybody's life is different. My goals are different from yours. I see things different from you, right? Based off what you tell me, I can tell you the basics, what you need to have in a will, the questions you need to ask if you're gonna go as far, because you can make a will by yourself, FYI. But if you are gonna have a lawyer, the questions you should ask that lawyer. So just like, I look at it like this, any major title, so your real estate agents, your tax person, we have to do these things called CEs. Lawyers do them, all of us do it. What are they studying, right? Because if you're not studying what I need from my life, you can't really help me.
That's right.
Because you only know the basics. But if you're studying this, you know deeper belong the foundation, and that's what you need. So this is what you should have in it, the basics, but a will is just a piece of paper. You want to go deeper than a will. You want that trust.
Wait, so you work with that too?
The foundation, but you should go to an attorney. You should interview an attorney and make sure that attorney is fit. But I do say, if this was my trust, these are the questions I would ask the attorney. I always ask any attorney, if I was your daughter, what would it look like? Not as your client, if I was your child, what would you do for me? How are you setting your child up? Because unless you act, not how you set up your spouse, because some people don't love their spouse. If this was your baby that you carried for 9 months, and it was a hard delivery, I asked weird questions to people. How was your delivery?
So when I was going through the home buying process, I interviewed realtors, but one thing they all said is like, oh, you got to get your team. You got to have your team. Even when I did the first time home buyers class, you got to have your team. Make sure you have your team. Being a financial strategist, do you have a team of people? Like, do you have like a lawyer that you would suggest, depending on? Okay, that's good to know. And
So
that was an
we don't do
question.
no brokerage other than Thumbprint if you come to me.
Okay.
Because I know that with Thumbprint, they're not just selling you a house. You're not a commission check to them.
Gotcha.
They're not just putting you in this house with this old radiator. It's 2025, there's central air. Like, there's updated things. They're not just about to throw you here because it looks good and they're gonna get $12,000 back. They are actually going to make sure strategy. They're actually gonna call me like, what does the income look like? What does this look like? I partner with my clients. Joanna can tell you, down to the mortgage lender, who you picked for your mortgage, let me call them. You're not filling out nothing until I talk to them. When I get on the phone with them, I tell them all the time, I'm asking for myself, not the client, because some mortgage lenders, there is a thing called redlining, and they stick by their book. But let's go past that book. I know the rules of these programs. My client can do this, right? So this is how I'm structuring their tax return. You don't need to give me yes or no. You just need to tell me, yes, this is possible, because you're not the one approving it anyways. Your underwriting is. So you can put me on an email with underwriting and I can have the full conversation. You still will get paid. Let me just do the work for my client because I want what's best for my client. And I know that if I say my client's going to Thumbprint, they're going to have the best home that's best for their client. I don't have to worry about next year they filing taxes like I'm ready to sell the home, the tenants, and I'm paying all this money. I don't have to worry about that. As with most agents, you do.
So then my next question, which is kind of off that topic, but that was great information for that question. We talked about like the different generations, right? And how the generation before us, like Joanna said, has a very selfish mentality. And I like to give our generation grace because I feel like we're moving into the mind frames that we feel like we need to be, right? Whole reason we're having these conversations that we're having right here. But going down that generation, so we do all this work to set our kids up. When do you think it's time or important to start having the conversations with our kids to keep this up?
When they can talk back.
I was just going to say, yes.
When they say mama and dada.
Yep.
I have a 1-year-old daughter. When I'm doing tax returns, she plops up right next to me with her little fake tablet and she's typing with me. Yep. Kids model what they see. As soon as your kids can say words to you, you should be teaching them this is what an asset is. Not what's trending, not about Nikes and Jordan. This is what a liability is. This is what a credit card is. Most people be like, oh, I'll wait till my child's 18 to build credit. Why wait till they're 18 when you can do it when they won? Exactly. You could do it the same day you get their social security number.
My husband wrote a book for children where it's teaching them about financial literacy. My 8-year-old, my soon 5-year-old will tell you what an asset is, what liability is, what credit is. My daughter will say, I'm a landlord. My son will say, I'm a landlord. They'll tell you what a tenant is. So I think we have to be able to have these conversations with our children, just like we can teach them how to use a potty. We could teach them how to cross the street. We could teach them that it's safe to do this, that, and the third. We could teach them good touch and bad touch. We can teach them about good credit and bad credit. Yeah. We could teach them about how to build wealth, how to be a responsible adult, how to have integrity, you know? And so I think a good time, like Whitney said, is when they can speak and when they can talk back.
Yeah. And to add, I think what it seems like, right, is it seems foreign because in our communities, sometimes it's foreign. But when you look at these families like Hiltons, Rockefellers, these folks that have had long money, deep money, wide money, it has been something that they've talked about and have implemented in their families, these pillars and principles from a young age. But because, again, especially in our community, a lot of times, and especially the generation above us, they were taught to survive. You got to get out there, you got to fight, you got to fight the war. But we have come a long way with knowledge and resources like what you see sitting here on this panel right now. where we're studying and we're actually digging in deeper and we're bringing this information back. It's a matter of engaging and listening, right? Slowing down. We can't go to the war anymore and just be like, I'm just going to hope and pray. No, there is strategy behind that you can implement and put it together. We are long gone from the days where we have to just guess on how to make something happen, and even if it is just like we said, okay, your Google search, but that's not going to actually get you where you got to go. You got to activate the resources. You got to understand how to put these pieces together. And sometimes in a world like today, especially because you can Google, you feel like you're an expert, but all you it's just an information high that you don't have any strategy behind.
Talk about it.
So just like any good recipe, there is measurements that make sense to what you're making. So if you don't have the proper measurements, it's always going to come out as a mess, even if you have the freshest ingredients on the table.
Okay.
Right? So that's really just what it is. We just got to start.
That's true, but I'm going to tell you about Google. I don't feel like an expert. I get overwhelmed. Like you said, it's an information high.
Yep.
And then you start looking, like Whitney said, lazy, because it's like, you know what? I don't even want to do this anymore. It's way too much information. But I'm going to have a little squirrel moment real quick. When you mentioned teaching them how to cross the street, today, I let my baby ride his bike to the neighbor's house. And I was so proud. He looked both ways. He had to cross 2 streets. I live on a side street, and the other street is an extra side street. But he still stopped, and he looked, and he did it. I was so proud of him.
Learn behavior, and it's learned behavior. And I think we can teach that children are sponges. They will soak up anything you give them. Success has no age. Success has no age. I don't know if y'all know that cowboy dance. It's like another one of those like those line dances. And I'm watching like 3-year-olds who are, and as an adult, I'm sitting here like step 3, 4, 5, back step, whatever, and they're doing it. And it's like, how did they learn how to do that?
They just watched.
They learned. They watched and they learned and they implemented.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is power. If you're not doing anything with that knowledge, it's what? It's just information.
It's a waste.
So success has no age. That's the name of the book that my husband wrote, and I think it helps to implement everything that we want our children to inherit and to execute as adults.
That's it.
And so let's bring it to our last topic. I love all of that information and all of Neddie Boo's questions. I saw her brain over there. I'm like, here she goes. She's about to go in. And I love all of that because it's probably stuff that people watching or that will be listening later could benefit from. So the last question, because I feel like this applies to me a bit. Commercial tenant rights versus commercial landlord rights. I feel like that was one of my biggest things. That is one of my biggest fears on this journey. And I didn't realize that commercial tenants are pretty much responsible for everything inside. So I didn't know that till I went to get my nails done one day. And the nail salon owner, she was complaining about a leak she had. And she's like, she told the landlord, and the landlord told her she has to fix it. And I'm like, well, wait, you're the tenant. She was like, yeah, we have to fix everything. So in my mind now, I'm like, I don't want to rent a commercial space. I might as well own it, because if I have to fix everything inside, and most commercial spaces, they're 5-year leases? Depending on it, it can vary. And with the business that I have, I don't want to go in and every 5 years have to look for someplace different, or the money that I'm going to put in for the build out. And then now the landlord's like, well, somebody else is going to get it. I'm like, all of that is like frightening for me, looking into commercial property. So dig in a little bit on some rights that tenants have that could ease some of this fear and anxiety that I have about getting a brick and mortar, because I know there's a lot of us out there that feel the same way.
Mm-hmm. Gladly. I love to talk about this because that is the fear of a lot of people. But it also is a misconception, right? I think what's important, especially when you're getting into commercial real estate and you're not in a position to necessarily own yet, right? Is for you to understand your strategy. That's why when I partner and when I choose to partner with my clients, I like to slow down. I honestly do enjoy working with first time, right? Folks that are just getting into the space. It's different in leasing than it is in residential, right? There's a lot of, restrictions. There's a department that you can call if something isn't right. There's discrimination. In commercial, it's not such. That's why it's important to understand who your strategist is, who your lawyers are, and who your agent is, so that we're able to bake into our offers that we put in, especially if it's from a lease perspective, the protections that you need. A lot of folks think, oh, well, I can just go find a commercial space on Craigslist or commercial, whatever page, Facebook, and I'm just going to sign this lease. What the landlord has is the building and an attorney, right, who's writing it out. So he's going to write, or she's going to write in protections that cover the landlord. So the type of lease that you're talking about, where you have to take on a lot of that responsibility, is generally a triple net lease. That's the most common lease, right? And from a landlord's perspective, that's a plus, right? I don't have to do anything but own the building, okay, pay the taxes and do all those other components. But for the most part, my tenant's going to take care of that. But what you do as an entrepreneur, as the person who's going to lease that space, is to make sure that you're writing into your agreement clauses that protect you, right? Even if it means that you have to terminate, right? Those are the type of things that I even tell when I'm talking to my clients. Okay, if you ever need to, fold, you need to break. Because a lot of times what they'll do is they say, okay, you have a 5-year lease. You're like, you know what? This is getting a little heavy. It's 2 years. I want to pull back. They have no exit strategy. They have no clause in there. Now you have already, didn't realize it, signed a guarantee, and now you owe the rest of the contract, and you're never going to be in that space. That is a treacherous place to be in, right? So you want to bake these things into your agreements, and that's where your right comes in. That's where we start to see a commercial tenant and a commercial landlord go into court because of the agreement that was broken. But there's not a set base that says, okay, well, this has to go. You can't discriminate across the board. If they don't want to lease to you, then that's just that. If they want to put this in here and they say, we're going to give you this building as is, and everything is hanging off the ceilings, and you got to fix it and bring it to fruition, that's exactly what you're responsible for if you sign your name on that lease. I tell them, do not sign your name on the lease until you have counsel or your attorney read your all the terms and make sure that you understand what's in your agreement.
So your nail tech didn't hire a Thumbprint Realty agent. So that's why she has to deal with that lease.
Okay. That's exactly why. Because, it's different. Okay, if you have the faucet running and you did that, that's your damage. Right. But if it's a leaky roof and the landlord knew that.
I love that. And that's how we're going to wrap the show up.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that could beat that. I love that. Absolutely love that, Joanna. I love how you brought that right full circle back to Thumbprint Realty. Absolutely. And I do want to thank all the ladies, Miss Whitney, Joanna, and Nicky, for joining us this evening to provide that was a tongue twister. To provide us with all this useful information, because I will be reaching out to them because I need all the help I need to get to my goals. And
And I do want to, not to cut you off, I do want to invite single, married, and looking folks to Chase Bank this Saturday from 11 to 3. We will be hosting.
Sorry, I want to go, but I'm not going to be available.
Oh, man.
I was more so worried about the camera.
Oh, I'm telling. Well, yeah, but I'm talking to the live folks right now. People who's watching right now. I know who, by the time you see this, the event would have already taken place, but I'm talking to the folks who are watching right now. This Saturday, 11 to 3 at Chase Bank in Mattapan, Mortgage Before Marriage. We will have Whitney. We will have an estate planning attorney who will talk about ways to build wealth, keep your wealth, and to be able to protect your wealth as well. So for all of those who are single, married, and looking, we hope to see you this Saturday.
Y'all better come out and get these houses in the city of Boston.
And the commercial buildings.
And the commercial buildings.
We can build a team of people to get.
Yes. Don't let them push us out the city. Because I don't want to leave Boston, but the way things is looking, I might have to. But
anything else you ladies want to shout out? Social media?
Yes, that's where I was going.
Okay, sure. So I am _Nicky_Allen. One of the things when you jump on my page, you'll see is beyond the transaction. I pride myself in making sure that I break down the layers behind the transaction. It's important. As I mentioned, I really want to see our businesses thrive. I want to see us make sure that we're here long. I don't want your doors closing in 2 years, right? If it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I want you to make sure that you get that. So _Nicky_Allen, and let's get on beyond the transaction.
Very amazing. Go ahead, Miss Joanna.
Joanna N. Edwards on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Co-founder and co-owner of Thumbprint Realty, serial entrepreneur, mompreneur. And we specialize in making sure that folks who want to stay in Boston purchase in Boston, and we will give you everything that you need to know as far as the blueprint, down payment assistance, and we come with the team. So we do have our tax strategists. We do have our lenders that we work with and partner with. We do have estate planning attorneys and real estate attorneys. One-stop shop for all your real estate needs. We know your home because we know your neighborhood. If you didn't choose Thumbprint, you paid too much.
You paid too much. Go ahead, Ms. Whitney.
And you can follow us, Kings and Queens Consulting. Want me to do it over? You can follow us on Kings and Queens Consulting, LLC, Instagram, and Facebook. I am Whitney. I change your life from start to finish.
Listen, I
Really
love
quick,
all of
Joanne,
this.
I follow you, so I know you got something else going on. Don't you do like flipping or something like that?
Yes, so
Listen, we need you.
Nettie.
Take one hat
Y'all gonna
one
have
hat off and putting another hat on.
You're gonna have to do that after.
We are part of a mini series. So Married and Flipping, I just did a She Flips 2 series with Boston Wild Black, where we took 10 women on a tour of 4 of my active flips to teach them the ropes on how to be a woman in construction, how to be a woman in this male-dominated industry of flipping homes. So yes, in addition to being owner of a brokerage, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a developer, I'm an investor, I'm a homeowner, and so all things real estate here.
I love that. I love the list.
See, I just started
Because that just made me think. I know that's okay. It just made me think about it, and I'll keep it within the box. So another thing that I do as well is I'm a firearms instructor, and I think that safety is important.
I didn't even know that. That's what's
right? So one of the things I know, I just got licensed officially. I've been shooting for a while, but got licensed. But in essence, what I want to start rolling out, especially for business owners or just people in general that want to protect their homes, want to be able to roll out these courses and classes so that you understand how to also protect your assets. That includes your commercial spaces that you're walking in and out of. You have the right to protect your home. You have the right to protect your finances. You have the right to protect your assets. These are things that we need to know, and it is a web of safety that all bakes into it all. So it's important. So I want to make sure that I drop that out there, because I'll start to roll out those classes for business owners, women, anyone who wants to feel empowered and just understand other ways to keep themselves protected.
Let me tell you something. When you talk about getting a team,
Listen, seriously.
get you a team of people.
Get your team through
Get a team. And it's black women sitting up here on this.
Listen.
Get you a team.
I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you all for coming out and providing us with all this information. Everyone that's watching, thank you for watching on the platform. Thank you for sharing the lives with your friends. Make sure you tune into YouTube next week to watch the edited version. Follow us on YouTube. We are Pandagasms on all platforms. Make sure that you come out to the live May 31st right here at Spark FM from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. The tickets are on Eventbrite. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Peace, love, and light. See everyone.